Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4, and today spawning in the northwest corner of the map, playing in orange, we've got 3DB playing as the French, and his opponent in the southeast, playing in blue, we've got 3D Mikkos playing as the English. Welcome everyone to Bohemia. That's the map for today, featuring two fantastic players of course, and two fantastic civilizations. Two civilizations that have gone toe-to-toe since the beginning of the Age of Empires franchise, and it's an interesting one, especially on the map Bohemia. We'll talk about that in a second, but with 3DB playing the French, it's a civilization that we know that he loves very much, or plays very much a lot, and he has some great games on it. It's kind of interesting seeing some of the players in the certain civilizations they kind of gravitate to, or at least the civilizations that we love to watch them play, and certainly the French is one of them for 3DB, and obviously things like Delhi come to mind with 3DB. And well, it's going to be a treat today, him playing the French, especially on the map Bohemia against the English, because the gold situation is a bit of a tricky one on this map, pretty far forward, very exposed, and obviously as a point of contention there. Possibly if the English can try and pressurize that, kind of deny that gold income, try and stifle the amount of knights coming out for the French. Now the English can be a civilization that does many different things. They can go for a second town center, maybe a fast castle, maybe just a feudal age aggression. In this matchup though, feudal age aggression kind of often suits the French, because that's something they do incredibly well, that powerhouse unit in the French Royal Knight. Bear in mind as well, this town centre does run faster, so they will be getting a lot more villagers out quicker. Well, I wouldn't say a lot more, but over time it stacks, and so the French economy in the feudal age is pretty strong in that way. Some of the English can kind of compensate for if they get to the castle age and end up going for the King's Palace, which is effectively a second town centre, and also that tech up to the castle age. Now on Bohemia, you do also have two sacred sites, which is not often a point of contention really for these two civilizations, unlike say for example the Delhi. That's obviously a known civilization that opt for getting those sacred sites, but I wouldn't be surprised to see these players go for that in the castle age if they can. Especially with the gold so kind of far forward and contestable for both players. Gold is an issue for sure. It's going to be the School of Cavalry going up for 3DB. No real surprises there. Possibly going to get a couple of early French Royal Knights. What I've got to say though, 3DB is really struggling on food. There's not a lot there. It's going for a mill. No doubt for an early wheelbarrow, which by the way has come back into fashion. Well, there are a couple of sheep down the north side of that town centre. But certainly wheelbarrow coming into a bit more of a fashion for, well, many civilizations, and the French in particular, because of course the techs are cheaper. But hang on a minute. We've got the Abbey of the Kings. That's something that we don't often see for the English, and I love to see it, because it's something that's, if you weren't excited for this matchup already, we definitely will be now. Now the question is whether he goes for a fast castle behind this or not. That's always an option for the English, but they can still go for a bit of a heavy feudal age, and the king will start to buy some time. That's a lot of sheep coming in for Mikkos. Nice pickup of those sheep. And puts a bit of a problem for B, and he's probably going to have to head out onto the deer camp pretty soon. He's only got a couple of sheep there. That's a bit rough. Now, bear in mind, he went for two scouts there, Mikkos. You kind of get that feeling, right? I thought about it for a second, and certainly going for a second scout has brought a lot of sheep from him. It's really paid dividends. It's kind of funny because we have seen some players go for a second scout recently when you go for a fast castle build. Namely, I've seen Core do it with the HRE. And Mikkos doing something similar now. Means that not only does it get a lot of sheep to really facilitate getting to the next stage, but it's also going to harm the French's economy a lot. Not that the English necessarily depend on the sheep, because of course they get very cheap farms, which is great rate of gathering of food, but every little bit helps. It means you can play a very condensed economy. 4 villages on gold, so there may be I think this is probably going to be a castle age behind this. We shall see. But certainly we've been expecting a king out nice and early. A scout going ahead there for Mikkos as well. Well, I hope you guys have been enjoying the content on the channel recently, and thank you very much for everyone supporting. It's so appreciated, whether it be on YouTube or Twitch. I think Age of Empires 4 has been in a good spot for quite some time now, and sometimes when you cast games a lot for one game, you start to get a little bit saturated, a bit tired of it. I don't think I've felt that much with Age of Empires 4, which is kind of fascinating, because I was expecting to get burnt out recently, but I don't know, just keep coming back. It's a great game at the moment, great spot, and hopefully long may that continue. Speaking about continuing, well, that king going to be continuing his journey over to the French base and maybe looking to do some damage. Scout going toe-to-toe, which actually B won't win that. He's behind on that HP, and B will need to back away from that. That is for sure at some point. Decide to try and take as much valuable HP off and then head back. And is he going to challenge? No, he shouldn't really challenge that, of course. There's no way he wins it. There's quite a few villages on gold, so I mean that's probably going to facilitate knights coming out, right? There's the first one in queue. Or is that in fact the second one? That is indeed the second one. Oh, king going to snipe him out. Oh, that's a big loss there. 3DB losing that initial scout means he's going to need to get another. Having that scout is going to be all important to find out what their opponent's going. Although having said that, I think 3DB is aware now that there's going to be a castle age coming out there for Mikkos. Going to try and snipe a villager. Will he get it? There's another hit coming out there. Oh, he actually hit the other villager there. Bit of a shame. Knight going to chase the king back away, and he's going to head back home and heal. Out of combat, of course, and, well, it means that he'll be safe for now and doing well. If he gets back to that Abbey of Kings, we're going to still try and harass that gold, and despite villagers inside the outpost, it's definitely going to delay the timing here. Going to send a lot more villagers there, Mikkos. Really wants to catch up on that gold count. Just having a keep an eye on that deer camp. B, all those charge coming out for the king, and does get a good charge attack. And this is important because B needs to keep these units alive, just as Mikkos does. And if you can keep that alive and healing up, that'll be ideal. Wait, Mikkos? Mikkos? Oh no, he's going to lose the king. Oh, this is a bit weird. I gotta say, I don't know if it's like a ping issue, but both players have done things that were unexpected, I gotta say. A little bit sloppy there to have lost the king. And of course, B was a little bit sloppy to have lost that scout early on. Really unexpected considering the level of these two players, and is now out onto the deer camp in the south of the initial town centre, looking to get that precious food, and he does lose a scout as well, Mikkos. Going to remake that king and starting that farming transition, which will bring a lot of food coming out there for Mikkos. Now the question is, what does 3DB do behind this? There's a couple of options. There's an option to be very greedy with the second town centre, which is probably ill-advised. Considering the French town centre already works faster, you're kind of already achieving that kind of goal. You're going to be super greedy if you're going for a second town centre. So I might play a one town centre kind of all-in push, which is always a possibility with the French, which kind of is looking to be the case with a double stable now play. The second stable coming up will be achieving that. The other option is to go for the castle age himself and try and match like for like, but looks like instead he's going to go for that feudal age aggression. The king going to dive in and try and snap out a villager. Might even get one. He's going to need 3 hits though without any bloomery. Does back away in time. Knight going to chase away, and villagers chasing too. Does rebuild, or finish building that house. Going to try and snap out the weak villager, although the weak villager I think has been taken away. So he should be fine now. Get a couple of hits in the back away. Mikkos. Now back at home, he's going to be making a move to that second town centre in the form of the King's Palace on that gold vein. Securing it quite nicely. I'm kind of surprised with that positioning though, I've got to say. Although, yeah, I mean it makes sense. He's going to secure it straight away as soon as that... Oh, he's going to lose that king once again for the second time in the game. Mikkos loses his king. But yeah, I was going to say, I'm a bit surprised by the positioning of that King's Palace, I've got to say, because he could have potentially put the King's Palace actually on the deer camp if he actually had units out, which, to be fair, is probably a good thing he didn't in this stage, because he lost the king. Maybe losing the king was just to buy time, although the King's Palace should be okay. It should go up in time. But certainly, if you had the ability to put the King's Palace here, it would have been quite nice on the deer camp, and also protected the gold, but probably best that he didn't, considering he lost his king, and now these knights are here. There's a lot of them. Village garrison inside. Going to be staying alive and well for now. The question is, what does B do behind this? Does he look to get some rams? He's already got the blacksmith up and running, so going to be getting the bloomery for free and getting iron on the mesh as well, which is certainly advised. I wonder if he's going to get chivalry to heal up the weak knights. Going to dive in a little bit, trying to harass that wood line. With the stable already up, the English should start to get those castle age knights. Villagers garrison inside. They're going to need to garrison inside for the King's Palace as well. There's the first knight. Now bear in mind that Mikkos with good micro, all he really needs to do is take some effective fights, take some damage off the French knights, and he picks off one and a second there. And without having lost many villagers at all. This is a good start for Mikkos, I've got to say. He's going to be under pressure, though. B needs to put on that pressure. Going to get chivalry as well now queued up. But it's going to be Castle Age Knights versus, well, Feudal Age Knights, and that's going to be well and good for Mikkos, but it needs those numbers. It's going to take some time to get there. Now, the bigger deal is that Gold Vein is going to be running out before too long, and I wonder whether he's going to try and deny the other golds here, B. That's kind of a part of the plan. It's got to be part of the plan. It might be a bit tricky on Bohemia for Mikkos to really get the knight numbers up to then push out to get the secondary goals. We're going to need to think about that. Farming transition very much well underway and getting the maximum farms he can under that influence. 10 of them in total. Now, one thing that's a bit concerning for the English is that playing this kind of fast castle build into a very condensed economy allows the French to do what they need to do, which is get the pocket economies, get the deer camps, get the boars if you needed to. Look at that on the boar in the north, and he's got the safety to do that. And that means that economy is going to be looking very strong. Gather rate of food is nice, and it's something the French often want to do. Looking to try and wall up now. If you can get these walls up, that'd be really useful. Not that it necessarily needs the deer, but it will be a nice bit of additional food bonus for him that it doesn't have to spend the wood on. Whilst they are cheaper farms, they still cost wood. That's a lot of knights healing up there for B, keeping them alive for now. And yeah, it looks like he's really doubling down on that feudal age. Going to get fitted leatherwork as well for the melee armor. Going to berries too. Just walling up in the north just to make sure he's not caught off guard and raided, which is a nice option. But certainly at this stage of the game, where it's panning out, in Mikkos and the English are going to be playing it pretty defensively. Going to go for a second stable. It's going to be knights versus knights. I've got to say, there's something refreshing watching knights versus knights. Oh, that's a smart play. Mikkos peeling one knight over to the north. Looking to snipe a couple of villagers. Doesn't get the village kills, but he does keep the area idled. B going to send 2 knights of his own to try and intercept. Speaking of knights, they're going to be diving in pretty soon. There's the little signal that the English get. Villagers going to garrison inside, 12 of them, and I don't know about this B. He's kind of diving in a little bit. He's probably going to lose a couple of villagers, and without much value of worker kills. I mean, he's going to lose 1 knight for sure, right? He does lose 1 knight. Didn't achieve anything by it. Kept a bit of villagers idled, but overall not too concerning there for Mikkos just yet. And that's the benefit of the English defense, right? You've got the network of castles bonus, if needed, but also the town centers do have the 8×2, the extra arrow slit and placement, or the extra, batch of arrows to be fired. Knights here going to be surrounded. B going to lose 2 more, and this is a painful loss. I've got to say, a knight there trickling in, and should get away with it in the end, but a bit sloppy once again. And I don't know if these players are playing with a very high ping or something, but there's certainly some awkward situations. There we go. Some knights do go down for the English. He backs away, having lost 1. He does kill one of the French ones, and now he's heading home. Back to heal up. And that's the benefit of the Abbey Kings. You take fights like these, and then you heal on up, and then you go again. I mean, I guess in a way the French can do the same, though, with chivalry. As time goes, though, I'm sure B's going to want to get to that castle age. No signs of the relics being collected here, because really he can't. All the map control is certainly in the favour of B and his French. This is where things get a little bit concerning for Mikkos, right? Because he needs gold for those premium castle age units. B recognising the fact that, well, all he really needs to do is deny the gold. And he's got 22 military. This is looking kind of scary. As time goes on, I'm not so sure about this position here for Mikkos. Because sure, he's got the King's Palace, which kind of catches up a little bit with the deficit of villages that he established in the feudal age, courtesy of the faster French working town centres, but it takes time for that second town centre to really pay for itself. He's taking the fight in the choke points, and well, there's no real easy escape there for Mikkos. Trapped in the houses. In fact, B is blocking him. There's no way. That's a massive surround, and there's no way out of there for Mikkos. He's going to lose a lot of these units now. Okay, yeah, it's feudal age versus castle age, but there's just so many numbers here for the French. He gets a massive surround, and Mikkos loses all that army down to 1 military. B takes a huge calculated fight, and boy, oh boy, was it a good one. And it was a smart one too. He's going to try and re-wall that up, but that villager is going to be denied, and unfortunately Mikkos falling prey to B's surround on the choke points there. And I got to say, that was a big push. That might actually be the winning move of the game, and everything from here just setting up to seal the deal. Because now there are 22 knights on the field. And all soon to be pretty full health too. Contrast that just to the 2 that are available for the English. Or is it 1, actually? It is 1, if you don't include the king. The question for B is whether he just goes full crazy feudal age, which is quite possible. Would he think about going for some rams? Well, it'd be tricky because you can't really build them easily on the field. Doesn't really have any infantry to do that with. It looks like full knights, which is kind of crazy. No real sight of castle age on the cards at all. Might look to push once again once he's done so much damage already, and look to compound the issue now, and maybe even just looks to torch down the king's palace. He does have iron undermesh after all. I think he torches it down. Yeah, this is a problem for Mikkos. Might look to try and push that way with a couple of knights. In fact, tech switches into spearmen, which is not necessarily what you really want to do in a knight versus knight battle, but ultimately Mikkos has no option because he's not going to get much gold after this gold vein has gone down. He's going to look to try and just torch that down slowly, be pulling it out, and try and slowly ebb away at that landmark. Yeah, that's going to be going down before too long. Spearmen do engage in that choke point, but again, these are hardened spearmen. They're not veteran just yet, and they're not going to do as well as you'd think. The spearmen do brace, but there's just so many numbers here for B. I think he straight up fights this. The king goes down right from the king's palace. And well, that's going to be another cleanup here for B, I think. I mean, he might lose a couple numbers because of the spearmen, so overall not a terrible trade, especially in the choke point. But Mikkos, I mean, he's fighting underneath the king's palace after all, the French, and so he might lose a couple of knights, but yeah, actually, to be fair, the spearmen are coming in now with the defender's advantage, holding firm, and he actually lost quite a bit there, I gotta say. Like, he caused a bit of idle time. Sure, but he lost a lot of numbers. Can't help but think if these knights were castle age knights, they would have, of course, done a lot better, but obviously would have had less numbers. Niche now looking to retreat after a good defense there, after all. Killed a lot of those French knights. But he has to go back to the drawing board. Mikkos not out of it just yet, that is for sure. That last fight turned things around a little bit. Couple of villagers idle there, not knowing what to do. But that gold vein, oof, that's looking dicey. He's going to need to venture out somehow. But spearman is not a bad option, right? Because obviously they can just camp out on the gold vein and maybe look to protect that area. Some more farms. I would love to see a wall here. Just going to the town centre a little bit, just to give him that measure of security, because it's pretty exposed on these farms. Like, he could always potentially lose a couple of villagers if he does extend the farms around this mill, which is always a possibility. He's looking to wall up on the west side and look to secure that gold vein, which is actually quite critical. And this is what we talked about. The knights do dive in, and Mikkos is not reacting in time. Loses one villager, about to lose a second, I think, anyway. He should do. Manages to get away with it. Taking the engagement. There is one lowly spearman. The comrades do join the forces, though, and these guys need to be veteran upgraded for sure. Mikkos needs to get more value out of these. Oh, Beep thinks about turning around and fighting, but I don't think he can, really. Ultimately, this is hardened spearman. This is a feudal age unit, but he's fighting feudal age knights, so it's no real problem there. And it's going to be the Royal Institute for B, which is kind of an interesting move, I gotta say. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to try and commit to killing his opponent, but it looks like he wants to. The Guild Hall has been a very popular landmark recently for the French and Jean, but it looks like B going to be going for full aggression. A couple of knights going the west right side, trying to get some value and maybe snipe a couple of villagers. B recognizing that threat. Now he's in the castle age. Doesn't quite have the food for the tech up upgrades just yet. There it is, Bloodlines coming in with 1,300 food. Whilst he didn't have it straight away, the resources to get these upgrades, he will before too long. But this is nice for Mikkos, by the way, because he's not necessarily looking to take a fight, although he might just snipe one of the Royal Knights before the veterancy upgrade comes in. Good snipe, but once he's come a veteran, Mikkos is going to be under pressure. He can't fight this. He cannot fight this even without the veterancy upgrade. Blocks come in, snipes that one, and oh, he's going to he's going to get that one in the end, which is unfortunate for Mikkos. There's a potential to save that one. Going on the east side, Mikkos just losing too many numbers. Just possibly focusing back at home, and that's part of the problem situation now. It does have one relic already in the bank, which is nice, but with B now in the castle age, we're expecting him to get some of his own. Village coming out to the deer camp, it seems. There's not enough spearmen here. It might be engaging B, looking to just fight with villagers maybe even. That's a lot of knights coming from the French. Don't forget, these are veteran royal knights, so these will do fine. Even with these numbers, he takes the fight, gets a surround, and B, he's just surrounding his opponent every fight. He's doing the same sort of strategy, and it's working really well, peeling away the weak ones, letting them heal up if they go back home. But there's a bit more number of spearmen heading forward, but just not enough, and the trade will be very effective here for B. Taking this down, going to look to get another surround, and he fights the counter unit. It doesn't matter. Ultimately, the numbers just looking so good for B, and he's going to get bloodlines as well. That's going to be very nice. It's going to be increasing the health of the cavalry by 35%. These knights are going to be absolutely ferocious. And well, the English are they're on the ropes. It's going to be hard to come back from this, I think. He's taken a couple of bad fights. He kind of got caught with his pants down, being out on the map without the numbers he needed to take an effective fight. And B, surrounded his opponent in several battles when he needed to. Stables in the south. Well, he's really going full knights, but ultimately now the numbers are going to be hard to keep up with, right? And a lot of economy is completely idled. And it would be fascinating to see B just look to just try and tank as many arrows. Pull the knights back and is causing a lot of idle time. Well, he might lose a couple of knights now if he's going to stay here for too long. He doesn't have yet wedge rivets, which is the second, I guess, armor against ranged attack. And, well, he's going to take the fight once again. Units popping out from Mikkos, coming out into the fight directly and getting sniped. And he's got 4 stables, but I don't think he's going to be able to maintain that production with these farms all being idled. B really just diving in. Got to be careful not to lose all his knights, but he... Oh my god, that could be dangerous. Going to need to try and get a... Yeah, he's going to definitely need to get a gate. The problem for him, really, though, is even if he gets a gate, it's going to be torched down. Villager's going to come out to repair. There's nothing here to deny the entrance for the knights. He's going to keep fighting, and I think there's a bug. I don't know if that bug's been fixed, but a couple of villagers going on the wrong side of the gate, and he's coming for the left side as well, pressuring, and he's got a full surround. Once again, definitely a theme of the game. The east side, pitting off 1 or 2 knights to harass the villagers on farms, and, well, whilst Mikkos does have 83 villagers, it feels like he's just lost too many military units. He's still been kept out for now. Here come the spearmen. I think B might need to back away. He's going to go right into the choke point. Although, actually, he might just take the fight. I think he should be fine with the numbers. Especially with bloodlines in play. Spearmen going to get better trades, though, overall. But ultimately, B shouldn't mind. He's caught up with the village count 80 to 81. He's killed 18 so far at King's Palace. The effect of it has definitely been nullified by the kills that have come out for B and the French. Going to get horticulture as well. Just in fact, the second upgrade is going to get fertilization. And also the second armor upgrade, melee armor upgrade, insulated helm, to make these knights trade even better against those spearmen. Only 2 military here for Mikkos. He's still holding, trying to find a way back into the game, but oh no, that's going to be a... Yeah, I was going to try and escape on the west side, but I mean, that was it really. He's been harassed for way too long, and 3DB with a full feudal age for a while, and then teched into castle age later on, but he did so much damage, and he takes the game on Bohemia. I hope you guys enjoyed the castle game. Take care, and see you next time.